Hey everyone, Egman here with another spreadsheet. This is going to be in the description of the video, and while you're there, definitely check out Mark Hill and on his YouTube and his Twitch, just the whole DBSDecks team in general. They are fantastic this entire weekend, being able to stream all 4 days of events, which are actually 6 events, because Saturday had 3 events for, like, I know why they had it, but like, geez, that was a lot of events to just have for people for that. But just in general, really great that he was able to do so much coverage. And he also put all of these, him and his team rather, put all these deck lists in Shenron's layer as well. So that was a huge boon for me and for everyone else. So just being able to have this information and get it to us is fantastic. So thank you so much, Mark. He's probably going to make a video about these events as well, and probably will have some re-uploads of the live streams and everything. So definitely check out his stuff. Give him a follow, give him a sub, give him a follow sub. I don't know what else you have, but definitely do that. So check him out. But yeah, we've got this is pretty much the last set 10 event that we have, since the anniversary box is coming out in 2 days from today if we're watching it on Wednesday. So yeah, it's really just a farewell to it, and what a farewell for sure. It's just really just shows how good this format it is. It is literally, and I don't, this gets oversaid I feel like too much, but this is literally the best format we've ever had, and I mean that full-heartedly. I don't know how to say it even more. Just, this has been fun. It has been a lot of fun. So many decks are viable. I feel like I at least for me, like, more of the decks that I think are like shenanigans work way better than they should a lot of the time. And we just have so much diversity too. And I'm not going to focus on any of the actual decks for this. I'm not going to look at, I'm just going to talk about the meta in general. If you guys want to see any of the 47 deck lists that we have, definitely just check out the spreadsheet. I have them by each day, by name, by leader, and by archetype as well. So that should be pretty helpful. We also have some handy dandy Excel pie charts to look at as well. But yeah, just a fantastic thing. So if we look at just the top winners, so we had Invoker win Thursday. We had Marcel so that was Michael Carrick. We also had Marcel why can't I say his name? Marcel Russell with Gotank's Mono Yellow, which hasn't really been showing up on these online tournaments until this weekend. And Gotank's really, like, you'll see, Gotank's was a 4th of the winning decks, which is crazy, since he was really, like, not seeing a lot of play, but then this weekend's different. Also, we have, like, a bunch of, like, repeats for some of these top 8s too, so maybe that skews it a little bit. But we also have on Saturday, we've got Carlos with his Vegex black, with kind of just like the generic more black saying. We didn't really see Majin Buu Vegex perform at all this weekend, so I don't know. I always felt like that was a weirder build, and I didn't understand it as much, but that did really well. And then we had Michael Carrick again on Sunday with an Invoker. So Michael Carrick won 2 of them. Congrats to him. And yeah, just showing, Invoker's so good. But we had 3 different leaders win for 4 of the events, so that's really cool. We also have the webcam, and I don't think this is, I don't know, I don't want to say anything that will take away from the people who won these events. Like, obviously these people worked really hard. These are good decks, good events. I don't know how many people are in these events, though. I'm not sure what the cap was, if it was met. So if someone has that information, fill it out. But also people who were in the I guess the untap groups, the original 4 groups, they wouldn't be able to get into these untap events. So I'd say, like, these events are a little bit more skewed for that. It kind of reminds me of like last year when they had the regionals, where there was like the invite bracket and like the non-invite bracket. So I felt like the webcams were kind of more of just the non-invite bracket, only because it was people who didn't get into the first 4 days of GenCon who performed for it. So, but definitely all these are super strong decks. I didn't want to take away from it, but you will see that there's way more like, of course there's already diversity in the untapped top 23, but there is like insane amount of diversity in the webcam version, because out of we have 10 different leaders on top 15, because we don't know what Gabriel played for some. I don't know how we don't know what he played, but we don't. So but yeah, we had so many leaders do super well. Like, we had like Vegex and like Zamasu did well, obviously, but we have like Broly Surge, we've got Super Saiyan 3 Reboot, we've got Gohan Frieza, Sin Shenron, Balma with what's the Ernest. He has a super sweet Balma list, by the way. I really liked it. Really makes me want to try it out, because he uses like the bandages engine. It's super cool. I love it. It's a great deck. So that's really cool. We had like Green Ginyu do top 8 as well, and so like obviously all of these I think they're strong decks in general, but I think there's just more diversity. And I don't know how many people actually were in each one of these tournaments. I'm not sure what the cap was, but that's the only thing I'll preface with these. I think they're strong decks, but just know that it was the I guess player pool wasn't the same as like the untapped ones. So. But yeah, we've got. So let's look at for the untapped. So top 32. So Gotenks, as we were saying, he had top 4. Then we've got like Zamasu and like Starter Vegito. Both had 12 and a half, and so almost like a third. A third of it was about just like good blue stuff. Like both of these are kind of like the same kind of a deck, right? They're leaders that just kind of take advantage of the Zeno Unison and go from there. And I think this really just shows how good the Zeno Unison is at just ramping up. So, like, just the idea of playing Zeno and then being able to ramp up to a Boony on turn 3 is super duper good, right? So decks that can take advantage of that the most would definitely be the best decks to, compete, I feel like. Because I feel like that's just the best play, right? A Boony is the best play for turn 4, so if you can consistently do it a turn earlier. And both Zamasu and Starter Vegito have this really neat thing where they can awaken with more than 4 life. Like they can awaken super early. Zamasu can do it on like I guess turn 3, quote unquote, or even like turn 2 if they sequence it correctly. Like with doing a Zamasu 1-drop into getting 3 energy, and then you play Zeno, and then you awaken from there. So that's really good. And then Vegito can just awaken on turn 1 and with 8 life, which is super crazy. So just a lot of value from there. And then just being able to have like a consistent version of like a draw 1 and tap 1, I think is great. So both these decks are fine. Kind of just the same thing, just ramp into more good stuff, be really control-y, what blue really does, and go from there. So I'd say that is there. Vegex is kind of just like a kind of black aggro. We've already kind of seen it. And it's been relevant for a while. Like, can you imagine if U3 wasn't banned? Like this would be like almost, I'd say like it would double. So I'm really happy that Vegex is still viable, and obviously like it's won a couple events, right? But without the U3 cards, so I think that was just like 100% the correct decision. We've talked about this for like a month now, but I think it just like further implies that those cards should be gone. And just the fact that Vegex is still a powerful deck just shows how powerful the leader is. Like you can do so much stuff for free, and you can cheat stuff out that I don't think it needed more tricks for it to be like good. So I'm happy there. I will say that it was weird with the only green deck that we had, at least for the untapped ones, the top were Reboot Gohans. Dredge Crew didn't do well, which is the first time in a while that it hasn't. Like at least the first time since release that I don't think Dredge Crew's really made the top, which is really interesting to me. I feel like it was in a really good spot for a lot of decks, and maybe it was just because people weren't getting the promos they needed. Or stuff like that. It is an expensive deck. Don't get me wrong. Dredge Crew. Dredge Crew is super expensive because you gotta have your rebrands. You got like all the cards, especially now that Metacooler is in the wild. Like I think Metacooler is a really good card for the deck. So like that just exponentially makes it more expensive as well. So maybe that's the reason. But I think it is kind of interesting to see that not even like Dredge Crew, didn't top at all. So. Just really interesting, but I think it's still a strong deck, and people will still be playing it in the future. We also had Reboot Gohan, though. So the only green deck, and we had, 3, 4? Yeah, 4. Was it 1 of every event, almost? Let me see. We had 2 on Thursday, 1 Saturday, and 1 Sunday. So I think this deck is good. I don't know. I have my own qualms about it, but I think it's in the right spot, especially for best of 1. And I think that's also maybe something skewed for a lot of these. I think maybe Dredge Crew would probably do better in a best of 3 because they can, game 1 can take so long with that deck sometimes, especially over internet, that it could be just a rough time to do, like not have a lot of draws with it. So maybe that could also be a reason why, especially since we had to have 7 rounds as opposed to 6 rounds for some of these tournaments. That could be something that kept it out. But there's that. We also have Invoker, which still did pretty well. I mean, it won both Friday and Sunday. So obviously super good. I feel like Invoker only it's really weird. Either Invoker wins the event or doesn't like top that well, right? There are some exceptions, but it feels like just Invoker, like exactly. So Invoker got first first, and then was that really it for? No way. Yeah. So there's only 3. Where's the third one? Where's the third invoker? I'm not seeing it. Did I make a mistake in my spreadsheet? Don't tell me this. Oh, there's 2 here. Okay, there it is. Justin Rios. Okay, duh. I played him. So yeah, but like that's what I'm saying. Like Invoker is really skewed in its matchup. So it's a super strong deck, but sometimes it just like doesn't perform, and so it's really weird to see how it just kind of goes up and down between the events on doing super well or not doing super well. Because there was one on here. Yeah, here we are. But yeah, so that's Invoker. I think it's going to continue being that way. And honestly, it's like one of the strange decks that, like, if you look at all of these leaders, most of these are new ones, right? At least about 2/3 of these leaders are the new ones. And so having like Reboot Gohan and Invoker being kind of like the old guard of like these were decks that were good before, and obviously that Surge Coup and also Piccolo Surge, both of those decks got nerfed. Because their leaders got nerfed, so obviously that's why they aren't doing as well anyways, but they're kind of like the old guard of set 9, especially since both these decks are essentially the same decks they were in set 9. Invoker just got their new 3-drop Goku, and Reboot Gohan got a couple new tools, but they're obviously not using Unison cards, so there's that. And then we also have right at the end, I feel like Red's kind of weak right now, and I still think it has like potential to do stuff. Like Red Gohan for sure can be a really big powerhouse, and Pan. Like we can't have an event where, or like a month period where Pan doesn't top something. That's just how Pan is, and so it's really cool to see that as well. We did have one Sin Shenron, and I feel like we'd see more of this if it was a best of 3 tournament or longer timing, but it's not. And Sin Shenron is so slow that I just feel like it has a hard time with it. But so that's like the top 32. Just leader wise for this. I know I'm kind of rambly for this. Obviously, you guys just want the spreadsheet for this, and so here it is. I got it for you. But I really am kind of remorseful for this being like the last set 10 kind of weekend for us, and I really do love this format. I love all this unison tricks that we have. I love how many decks are actually playable right now. I feel like every color is playable as well. A lot of archetypes are really good right now. And I just hope that here's my big. We'll talk about it in another video. Hopefully, Anniversary Box doesn't break it. I know a lot of people are talking about Agent of Destructions. Currently, I think it's just going to be like the gateway for the format. Either you have to have a winnable matchup against that deck. Doesn't mean you win all the time, but like people are going to be playing that deck for sure. And if you can't beat that deck, you're going to have a rough time. So that's just kind of like my idea for it, where you have to be able to beat it if you want your deck to be good, right? So that's why I say it's like the gatekeeper for the format. But I think there's also a potential for more diversity with the Anniversary Box, with like some stuff like Bojack. I think has potential. I think Chilai has potential. Like I think some of the skillless stuff, Hatchyak might come back. Like there's a bunch of options for it to be like even more spread out on what's viable for this format. Like Prison Frieza could also be viable too. Like a lot more stuff that people are trying. I just hope that it's not a case where agents or literally anything else is too powerful to get. I feel like we have a lot of decks in tier 1, but nothing's tier 0, and I think that's really good. And so I just hope that that Agent Destruction doesn't become such a tier 1 deck that it just puts a couple of the other tier 1s down to tier 2, I guess, right? I don't think it's definitely not gonna be tier 0. But there is a chance that it's good enough that other decks become tier 2 because they just can't keep up. But that's me being long and rambly. Definitely check out all of these deck lists. See what everyone ran. I also put some video links for people who did play these decks, so they can actually talk about them. So shoutouts to Android and Team FOE for doing their videos. I'll try to update this. If there's anything that I'm missing, please let me know, and I'll add it to this list as well. And I think that's really it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite deck is for this format and your hopes for the Anniversary Box. And I'll catch you all next time.